I'm going to share with you what happens when forbearance ends and the hidden devil inside that many people are not aware of as they go through this forbearance process. Now, this is not to say at all that the forbearance is a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. In fact, it's been phenomenal to help people through very difficult times. It's helped the banks save people from having to go through foreclosure. However, there is a catch to this that most people are not aware of, and I want to bring this to your attention right now. Now, many people are going to fall into one of these upcoming scenarios I'm going to describe for you. One, they may not actually be able to move from their home for quite some time, or at least not be able to buy a home for quite some time in the future. The second thing could be that they may have to end up coming up with thousands of dollars immediately if they decide they need to move from their home, or they may end up in a short sale or foreclosure situation anyway. So again, I'm going to take you through this really quick, what is causing those particular scenarios to happen so you can plan in advance so you don't let it happen to you. Now, what I'm going to do is break down what happens during the process of selling a home and how this little devil comes into play when people have gone through forbearance. So here we go. Okay, so when you sell your home, you're going to start off with a selling price that you've agreed to with a buyer. So this becomes your selling price. And then, depending on where you bought the home, you've got a loan balance that needs to be paid off. So this is the situation for most people. Obviously, if they're in forbearance, they've got a loan. So they've got a loan balance, and depending on where they bought their home at, meaning how much money did they put down when they bought their home? Did they put 3%, 5%, 10%? Did they refinance the home somewhere over the course of the loan period so that they've raised their loan balance relative to the value of the property? So here you start off with a sales price and a loan balance. So when you go to sell your home, you're going to have some closing costs as well. And so I'm just going to draw a little box here in red. These are unavoidable. These are basically your closing costs. And that could encompass things like the title insurance. It can include, obviously, real estate commissions. So you're paying realtors to sell the home. On average, that might be 6% just on its own. Then additionally, you've got taxes, past due taxes that you owe. If you haven't been escrowing them, then you've got to pay that in as well. So it could easily get up to 10% of your sales price just in your realtor commissions and your closing fees. But whatever that amount's going to vary, and the important focus here is not exactly how much it is, but what can happen in this process that leaves you in a bad place. So here's where the catch comes in. When we think about the forbearance process, what they've done, and it's not a bad thing again, they've helped people get through the pandemic by allowing people to add missed payments onto their loan. So I'm going to assume, that they've got some amount of payments from forbearance that have been added onto the loan. So when you go to sell, this difference between where your closing cost ends and where your total loan balance is with forbearance is, that becomes the amount of equity you have left over. Now, here's what happens. People may decide that they need to sell their home or get out of their home for a variety of reasons. Maybe they haven't gotten their job back yet. Maybe they're still working, but they're only getting half pay because their wages have been reduced or their hours have been cut, or they found a different job to try to fill the void. Maybe it's a husband and wife, and one of them is still unemployed, but the other has found employment once again. But it's still not enough to cover the payment of their home as the forbearance ends. So what happens is they have to sell the home, and the big question is there a gap between the closing costs that have come off of the agreed upon sales price and the new loan balance after the forbearance payments have been added back onto the back end of the loan? Again, remember, the way forbearance worked is you didn't have to make payments over a period of time, but those just didn't disappear. They got added onto the back end of the loan, raising the mortgage loan balance when it comes time to sell. So again, hopefully that gap in between is enough to allow you to just to sell and walk away. Now, maybe you've been relocated. Maybe you need to move for personal reasons and you need to sell, and you're facing this particular situation, one of these that we're going to go through. Now, in a perfect world, there's enough room between all the costs that come out of the sale plus the forbearance added on that you've got room left over to have some type of net profit at the end, or at least cash in hand when you walk away. Right? How much that is of course going to vary. The problem is there may not be enough for a down payment. What if that amount remaining is only a few $1,000s? This means you're not going to be able to have the down payment that you needed to buy your next home. This means for many people they're going to have to start over and start rebuilding that savings account so that they can get a down payment to get back into home ownership again. Now, if that's the worst case scenario, that you walk away with just a few $1,000s in your pocket and you're able to go off and buy another home, you have to wait to be able to buy another home, that's still a great place to be in if you figure what has been able to get you through these times to make it to this point. Save your credit, no impact or tarnish on that, and be able to just rebuild. However, it doesn't always work that cleanly. One of the more possible scenarios is that the forbearance didn't just end here. The forbearance, because it wasn't just 6 months and then 12 months, you've taken advantage of another 3 months, 6 months beyond that, you're at 18 months, maybe 24 months. What happens when your loan balance, with all the extra forbearances, goes up into this window, where now this difference right in here, this is cash to closing needed. And what that represents is that you don't have enough coming out of the sale of the home after closing costs to pay back the full balance of the loan. Or after paying back the full balance of the loan, you don't have enough money to cover all the closing costs. Same thing. At the end of the day, you're short on money. Now that means you could have to bring money to the closing table. This could be a few thousand, it could be tens of thousands of dollars. It depends on your situation. We've actually helped individuals who have bought their home right before the pandemic, lost their job, not even able to make their first mortgage payment, so they ended up with negative equity building all along the ways. They never made a single mortgage payment because they couldn't, and therefore there was no way for them to be able to sell that home and sell that property without bringing tens of thousands of dollars to the closing table. So this is one scenario, and maybe it's small enough that you can cover the difference on a credit card. You could get a friend or family member to borrow you the difference, and you could continue on your way. Once again, you're still at a place where you're not able to buy your next home because you have no down payment remaining. It's all disappeared from you. Many people are not realizing this. So this is the second level of the devil coming out here, which is that not only can you not buy a home anytime in the near future because you don't have a down payment, but you're actually needing cash to closing. There's a situation that gets even worse, and let me draw this one out for you. Let's assume that just was your first 12 months of forbearance, and then you took more time. You took another 6 or 12 months if the bank offered it to you for forbearance, and now those additional forbearance payments put your loan balance. This becomes your new loan balance. This is above, I'll just call this yikes, because the loan balance is more than what the property is actually selling for. This means you are upside down in your mortgage. This is where a short sale needs to come into play. Let me explain this to you. You've accumulated so much deferred mortgage payments that when tacking them onto the loan, you are not able to sell your home today. So as a result, in order for you to sell today, if you could not afford your payments, if you lost your job and you still don't have it back yet, or whatever the case might be, that you can't afford your mortgage payments, and you tell the bank, I need to sell this house, you can't even sell the house for a high enough price to not only pay off the loan, yet less all the closing costs. So this is where you start falling into a short sale situation where the bank says, Well, we're going to have to discount the amount that you owe us for the loan, and we're going to have to take a loss. Now, a couple things happen with that. That's a real problem because the banks, number one, don't want to take a loss. So they may work with you, but it's not in their, they'd rather give you more time with your forbearance and let you hold this property over a longer period of time to slowly pay down that loan balance and the property to go up in value. But in order to get a short sale, they're typically going to require that you prove that you can't make it, and the way they do that is by forcing you to have to miss payments. Historically, banks have traditionally said in order for us to approve or even consider, yet less approve, a short sale, you need to prove that you can't actually afford it by getting 30, 60, or 90 days late. That way we know you're absolutely serious and you're not just trying to get us to waive some of our loan for you so that you can get it sold and move on your way. So now you've got damage to your credit on top of it through late payments. And sometimes those short sale processes can take a long period of time for the banks to approve it and everything else. So you're just accumulating more and more and more short sale, late payments while the short sale process is going on. There's always a risk of deficiency judgments and everything else that can happen in the short sale process. So it's not something you want to get into. Then it could go even further than that the bank could decide just to foreclose on you because you're not making your payments. You're upside down. Nobody will even buy it at the price you're trying to ask because there's so much debt. So it gets really, really ugly when these forbearance payments continue to tack on to the back end of your mortgage. So let me tell you what this means for you and what you can do to help avoid some of these worst case situations that can happen. First of all, obviously, try to find ways to get back on track with your payments. Maybe rent out part of your rooms. Maybe do short-term rental. Maybe have a friend come stay with you. Maybe you decide to rent it out directly, not even live in it, just so somebody's making the payments with the bank. That's one option. Another piece is to see if the bank will do a loan modification. A lot of the banks are modifying the loans and working with you, which might get you into a payment that can get you into a better place. Certainly selling the home sooner than later if you haven't gotten your job back, and you know, I know we always want to hope for the best and hope that any day now I'm going to get that job that's going to allow us to get back on track, but you got to be realistic. If you've gone a certain amount of time and it hasn't changed yet and you're digging yourself deeper and deeper inside a hole, you've got to decide just to try to sell it before you get too far upside down in that property. There are other solutions. We work with sellers to help them turn that property into investment over time because time will heal the problem. When you have this as an investment property and it's paying down your mortgage through other renters or other higher yield business models for your home, now you're making your payments, you're paying down your mortgage, and your appreciation on the property is all happening at the same time, which puts you in a better place. Many people don't have the experience or the desire or the kind of perseverance to manage rental properties and investment properties, and that's okay. So find partners. These are all things that you can do to get yourself out of the situation. For anyone that's looking for help around more creative solutions to help you use time as your lever to solve this problem, go ahead and click the link that's right down here below. It's in the comments or inside the description, and you can check out some of the other creative strategies that you can do to turn your property into an investment, and over time, you will solve this problem. And here's the cool part about that. The reality is, once you hit a certain point, you're not buying another home anyway. You don't have the down payment, or you're bringing negative cash to closing. Instead of bringing cash to closing and being negative in the property, why not let the property heal itself through more creative investment strategies? These are things that we call at NextGen REI the alternative sale. And it allows you to get over market value for your home today and save your credit, save your equity, and let it build. So you don't end up in the situation where you working with the banks, you end up 30, 60, 90 days past due, showing impact on your credit reports. And again, it could get even worse. We talked about short sale and foreclosure. So these are just some of the little devils that are not very clear for people as they've gone down that forbearance process. Now, once again, I want to reiterate for you that this is not at all to criticize in any way, shape, or form the forbearance solution and the power in what the banks have done to help people through the pandemic. This is merely to identify for folks what can actually happen when forbearance ends and what it really means. Because numerically, the banks aren't giving you this picture of the equation because it's not their job to. They certainly want to help, but they've got a lot of people to help, and this is something that can negatively impact you. Once again, recap, it means you may walk away. If you're lucky, you'll walk away and everything will be fine. You'll have enough down payment for another home. Yes, but even if you ended up being able to sell the home, not having to bring anything to closing, but you lose your down payment, you can't buy another house for a while till you save up, that's okay. You still did very well with the forbearance. But beyond that is where we start getting, again, into you've got to bring significant cash to closing to even get out of your property so you can relocate or get into a place that you can truly afford. Or once again, you could end up in a case where you're upside down in your loan and you need a short sale or a foreclosure in order to get out of that property. So don't let it come to those later pieces. Think now about your strategy. If you need any help figuring out how to solve these types of problems, once again, click the link that's somewhere around this video, either in the comments, description, etc. We'd love to show you creative ways that you can actually avoid these losses and these negative impacts to your equity, to your credit, and turn any losses you might have into profits. So hope this was helpful for you. Again, follow the link below if you have any questions. Now, if you like what we shared with you here today, be sure to click the like button, maybe drop a few comments down below, and don't forget to click the subscribe button so you get notified when we publish more content that we've put together for you.